Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing the brand new Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. Over the weekend, I went to Sephora and I picked up this foundation. It retails for $29, which isn't crazy bad, but it's also definitely not an affordable option. So I wanted to make sure that I really put this foundation to the test so that we know if it's worth it or not. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, also known as Hannah with the Lipstick. So I am so glad you're here. If you like easy to follow tutorials, try on hauls, just all things girly for the most part, then you're gonna like it here. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that, and if you want to get really serious about never missing out on an upcoming video, you can also hit that bell notification as well. This foundation retails for $29. I bought it with my own money at Sephora, and I'm someone who does enjoy a lot of drugstore foundation, so when I buy a foundation and it's over $13, I'm expecting to be like shocked and awed. This foundation comes with 1 ounce of product. I will say with packaging, I love this packaging because it does look kind of like concealer, and I actually really enjoy a doe foot applicator, but because it has this whole thing, I feel like the packaging is a little bit deceiving because it looks so big, but the doe foot applicator is going to take up space and the lid is pretty tall, so you're really only getting this much product. So I just had to mention that. Just for reference, I'm someone who has very oily combination skin, so if that's you, then be sure to wear a primer underneath the foundation and also set your face. I'm about to show you a couple of clips where I put the foundation on, so I'll show you it without a primer just so you can really see what the foundation looks like, but that's a tip that I wanted to mention. Makeup ASMR. Going in with a clean canvas, all I have on my skin is a little bit of moisturizer and SPF. I'm going to use the applicator and just put a couple of dots on my face, and it is a very liquidy texture, but it does spread pretty far. I've noticed you really only need a little bit. When I first tested this foundation, I used so much and it was such a mess. So I would say for sure start with a small amount. Like I might have even put too much on my face this time. You really only need a little bit and it goes a long way. This is what the foundation looks like so far using my hands. It has a really nice satiny finish. Because I have such oily skin, it looks great now, but it does make me nervous that it's going to get really oily throughout the day just because that's how my skin is. So if you're super oily, this foundation is going to need to be for sure set very well with a powder. I'm curious to see how well it hides this ugly blemish I have. This pimple is so painful. I messed with it the other day, which I should not have, but I want to put a little bit on there. So let me just see how that covers. It covered it pretty well. It's not completely gone, but that's not really what I would expect from a more light to medium buildable foundation. It knocked off quite a bit of the redness, so I'm happy with that, but just wanted to give you an idea of how well it covers blemishes. For this side, I'm going to use my sponge just to show you how it blends out with a sponge. This is what it looks like when I blend it out with a sponge. Pretty similar. I would say the side with the sponge is probably my favorite. When I blend it out with my fingers, it can tend to get just slightly separated on me, whereas when I do it with the Beauty Blender, I don't really have that issue. I actually really want to try her concealer because I love a good lightweight concealer, and I'm really curious, so I might have to pick that up next. If you have normal to dry skin, I feel like you are going to be obsessed with this foundation because it really does give you such a nice luminosity. I feel like if she came out with a matte version of this foundation, I would literally be in love because I love the light texture, but the luminosity is just a lot for me. This is my skin with 1 coat of the foundation. It really does a great job of color correcting, and as we saw before, it actually does cover acne quite well. Just be careful because if you do have oily acne prone skin, I noticed when I wore it the other day that it did separate just a little bit on my blemishes, so you probably are going to want to go in with a liquid concealer or really go in with some powder foundation to make sure that that area does not go anywhere. I want to get really close and personal so you guys can see my skin. One of the things I will say is I haven't been able to find this perfect of a match in foundation in a while. This is the 180W, and it honestly matches me perfectly. I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup so you guys can see the finished product. I finished my makeup, and I have to say, even looking in the mirror, this foundation really does have a beautiful finish. When I was demonstrating this foundation, I did not use a primer, but typically I would always suggest using some type of primer underneath this foundation. This is a really good option for people that are wanting kind of a more low-key makeup look, and they want to get some decent coverage, but they also don't want to steal the luminosity off of their skin. If you have normal to dry skin, I have a feeling you're going to be obsessed with this foundation. It's just, I do have that little caution for oily to combination people, only because when I wore it over the weekend, I did notice a little bit of separation, especially on my jawline, and I typically do not get that with foundations. Overall, I feel like for me, I would probably give this maybe like an 8 out of 10. It's a really, really solid foundation, and the reason why I knocked off a couple of points is seriously because my skin is so oily. So if you're someone that only has like a little bit of oil, or you have normal to dry skin, I feel like this foundation could be a 10 out of 10 for you. I linked all the products that I used on my face down below, so if you're curious about what other makeup items I used, you can find everything down there. Let me know if you have any product recommendations or ideas for future product reviews or tutorials down below in the comments. I love getting your guys' feedback. Obviously, this is a community effort. These videos are for you guys, so I would love to know your thoughts. For more lifestyle content, try-on hauls, and tutorials, be sure to go over to my Instagram. My handle is Hannah with the Lipstick. Also, don't forget to subscribe down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.